We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Flugar. We cover everything in college football because just like you, we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our ever-growing channel. Smash the like button. If you like our content, share the video with your family and friends. If you want to support this channel through a super chat donation, just hit that $, make a comment, make a donation. We'll get to your comment as fast as possible. Welcome in to the studio that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway in Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to be a legend in the chat and with your phone calls later in the show. We have a stacked show tonight, and I'm a little worried because it seems like the studio, it just seems like everything's running just a little bit slower than it usually does. So I am praying that we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. So as you can see, we have a couple different subjects we're going to talk about tonight. Actually, 3 big ones in the monologue. And then we're going to open it up in the chat. You can give us a call, talk about anything you want, because when you call, you control the show. Also with your chats. We're going to just go over lightly, really quick, the Division I Board of Directors, what happened today. We're just going to go over it really quick. We've been talked about it yesterday. I put out an episode today. The results, look, it looks like Charlie Baker does have some momentum. There seems to be some momentum in Congress, but what Charlie Baker wants and the Congress wants isn't quite in sync. And I'm not sure how big a deal that is right now. I think Charlie Baker's just trying to convince people, the Congress, that they're serious. And it does seem like he's got momentum. In their Proposal 1, Proposal 2, when it comes to NIL, possibly bringing it in-house. We're going to go over a quick article on 3 article. It sounds like most of the Power 5, Autonomy 4, whatever you want to call them, the institution, sounds like most of them are in favor of that if they can make it work. If they get protected from the courts. And then the direct payments to the student athletes. We'll get into that. The second story, look, we're just going to, again, just delve into it just a few minutes. We're not going to go into it deep. I think it was a couple live shows ago. Maybe not yesterday, but I have no idea. I don't remember. I might have been the live show, 2 live shows ago. We had the Florida State Money Purge update. One of those updates was, Florida State's perception is ACC is digging in. There is no possible immediate negotiations, mediation. No, ACC is digging in. That's what the Florida State Money Purge told us. I think we got a little bit more evidence of that being true. Just a little bit more evidence today. Just a little bit of more data coming in. I think it kind of shows that the ACC is digging in. I think it also kind of hints towards the strength in numbers argument. The strength in numbers argument. They've had that discussion between Florida State and Clemson. We'll get into that in a little bit. And then, of course, the title of the show. The title of this show. Kalen DeBoer is he the guy replacing the legend at Alabama, Nick Saban? I did not just put that title in and then clicked on the show. There was a couple things that happened. One is we were told something at Peek Around the Corner. We were told something. Now remember, I'm all fired up with Lane Kiffin, right? Lane Kiffin was my 1A. Dan Lanning was my 1B. I do-si-do those two a couple times in our live show last night. The chat was bringing in a whole bunch of different opinions, some really good information, buyout numbers here, all these things. Even this morning, when I did an episode, Dan Lanning episode, Dan Lanning is not going to be the next head coach of Alabama. Even in that episode, I said, maybe it is going to be the guy from Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin. But soon after that episode, and I believe because someone watched the episode, somebody gave me some information and said it's not Lane Kiffin. This is coming from a person, just a well-known person. Could be wrong, could be right, but the person said it's not Lane Kiffin. I said, what? Okay, well then who is it? And the only other piece of information the person said is, he goes, I don't know who it is, but I would bet that it's that Kalen DeBoer would get it over Steve Sarkisian. He didn't think Steve Sarkisian is in the running. He doesn't believe Sarkisian is interested. So he says a lot of people are focused on Kalen DeBoer. Something. Okay, sure, he was named in the Pete Thamel tweet, whatever. I haven't been, we mentioned him last night, but I haven't been focused on him. But yeah, he thought it was going to be Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer is going to get a big old contract. Washington. He's from the Midwest. He's not from the South. Does he have any connections with Nick Saban? I know that Saban tried to get Alex Scrub, the offensive coordinator, to be the new offensive coordinator at Alabama before they brought in Tommy Rees. It's not Kalen DeBoer, really. It's not Kalen DeBoer. Ron Lowney says he doesn't buy it. T-Duck says total silence from DeBoer. Immaculate says DeBoer has zero connections to the South and Saban. You remember, and this is going to be our third story, so you got to hang in there. We'll go through the first two stories quickly. But you remember when we read that breaking news, we did that Nick Saban yesterday, and Pete Thamel listed the candidates, and I said, look, you can love Pete Thamel, hate Pete Thamel, whatever you want to do with Pete Thamel. I think he's great. I think he does a great job. Is he perfect? No, nobody is. But I said, when it comes to coaching carousels, you look at the Pete Thamel's post first. Why is that? Because he's got the biggest Rolodex in the business, but more importantly, he is the sounding board. He is part of the not directly part of the negotiations, but he plays a part because he might say things that an agent wants to be said. Cloak and dagger, cloak and dagger, cloak and dagger. And Kalen DeBoer was one of the names listed. So were other names. We're going to get to why here in a little bit, why this very well could be DeBoer and Grubb to Alabama. Somebody wrote an article later today after I went through all that information. And the person who wrote the article is not the person who talked with me, but I think there's true steam. At least people are trying to connect the dots, and they seem to be connecting towards Kalen DeBoer. So I quickly got out of the studio. I ran down. I didn't run. I slowly walked down Keith Jackson Parkway. At the end of the road, I went into the PATC Sportsbook, and I put a little bit of cash. I went to the betting window and that paper blur, and I put a little bit of money on Kalen DeBoer as the next Alabama head coach. We're going to get into that. I powered walked. Yes. Yes. Yes, I powered walked. Okay. Okay, let's get to the first couple stories first, and then we're going to get into Kalen DeBoer. And I think once I read the article from a certain gentleman, and then, when I matched it to what I was just told hours previously, I think you're going to see, yeah, it could be DeBoer. Or maybe not. Maybe you disagree in the chat and the phone calls, and that will be fun as well. Let's get into, first of all, let me thank everybody who's come on in. My bad. I'm so excited to get into the show. It is a stacked show. James Foster is in the house. Richard L., Mr. Colorado Buffalo. Stephen McNeely's in the house. David B., James Foster, Jay, Go Blue. Go Blue. Michigan, Laura Weiss, Texas Tech, Red Raider, Randy Taylor, Holy Smokes, Charlie Atwood, the Nittany Lion is here, Cornelius Green, praise the Lord, Matt Neeson. Go Cyclones. He's very, very consistent. Every day, go Cyclones. Just tell me when J.J. Cole jumps in the transfer portal. Matt, just let me know when J.J. Cole jumps in the portal. Not this year. I'm talking about next year. Jim Reese is in the house. Big 12 Mafia Network. Mr. Nathan Brown, he's in the house. Mr. Monkey says, Jeremy Nork. Washington Husky, Ted Evans, it's anxiety. Black Rain, what's happening, Greg? Well, a lot of things are happening. We are PATC. We are riding a tiger, a wild tiger right now. Not a horse, not a donkey, but a tiger. We're just trying to hang on. Daniel Montcastle, Mr. Hoosier is in the house. Expedition Greg, early peak member. Coy, early peak member. KS Bear FN, good afternoon. Matthew Carlson, Mr. Wolverine is in the house, still celebrating that national championship. I think Matthew Carlson's going to be celebrating for the next decade. The architect. So you are saying it's going to messy divorce, huh, Greg? Minds won't be changed. Immaculate is in the house, getting 10, 12 million at Washington. That could be, or maybe there's something else going on. Maybe there is something else going on. LFG is in the house. Sean Life Adventures is in the house. One-way flight from Seattle to Tuscaloosa is scheduled. That might be true. Hold on. That might be true, but plane tracking is really of no value when it comes to figuring this stuff out. So I do this story, this belief, this growing belief that Kalen DeBoer is the guy doesn't have to do with plane tracking. Let's just put it that way. That's not part of it. DeBoer over Sarkisian is a terrible comparison to use as reasoning for why it's DeBoer. T-Duck, total silence from DeBoer. Expedition Greg, I have a good feeling Ohio State might be getting another Bama transfer. And Caleb Downs could be. Hummus Heroes in the house. NE is in the house. Okay, let's get to the first story. And then we'll get to Kalen DeBoer. Again, nothing confirmed. I believe, as of right now, Thursday night, January 11th, 6:16 Eastern Time. I think there's a growing number of people who think it is Kalen DeBoer. It might not be done yet. Or, I think if you took the votes of people in the media, for example, I think they would have it Kalen DeBoer. But even though I don't see a whole lot of talk about it, except for this article and what we were told a few hours before the article was published. We'll get into it. Okay, first of all, D1 Board of Directors Chair Moorhead says the board, as expected, has charged the D1 Council with exploring and creating recommendations related to Charlie Baker's proposal. Okay? So the two proposals we're not going to really get into the subdivision, $30,000 or more and all that. That's the third proposal, and they're not going to tackle that one until they tackle the first two. One being, and we're going to put it up, we're just going to go through this real quick. We've been hitting this pretty hard. I know the PATC community understands what's going on here. This is from Eric Prisbell on 3. NCAA takes next step on its bold college sports reform proposal. The traditionally slow-moving NCAA is swiftly moving the ball forward on a key item within its bold reform proposal that caught many stakeholders off guard early last month. The Division I Board of Directors on Thursday, today, formally tasked the Division I Council with working on specific recommendations related to the progressive plan, marking an important next step in the association's legislative process. Charlie Baker's industry leaders want to fast-track legislation related to moving NIL activity under the umbrella of schools, a significant change from the current model that consists of third-party, donor-funded collectives. This legislation would enable schools to enter into NIL deals with athletes. So this is on the fast-track legislation. This is something that Baker wants to do, industry leaders want to do, and he's getting some support. Maybe not so much by Congress, not yet, maybe not ever, maybe he won't get it. But within the industry, it is building support. And this is what I wanted to find out in this convention. Is there the actual steam behind these proposals? Does he have momentum? It looks like he does. The fact that they are moving this quickly on legislation reflects the urgency that is palpable throughout the landscape amid mounting legal threats and potentially seismic change on the horizon. We've all talked about that, right? I can't say where the process is going or where it's going to end, Moorhead told The Athletic at the convention. Some stakeholders have expressed pushback to On3 regarding the NIL element in the proposal, particularly if their schools are outside a Power 5 conference. They're already stretched thin with staff and resources. But here is the PATC money shot of the article. But interviews with athletic directors and others suggest many, if not most, Power 5 schools welcome it. The train is heading in that direction, one prominent source told On3. It is widely welcome in the P5. I'm somewhat optimistic. To bring NIL in-house, inside the four walls of the institution. And then we're just going to go through this real quick. The NIL piece is the proposal. It's the lower hanging fruit when it comes to this new subdivision for like-minded, highly resourced schools to craft their own policy. You know, the $30,000 direct payments to the paying athletes. Baker has been widely applauded for introducing the forward-thinking plan. There's a whole lot of questions, though. Maybe a whole lot of unintended consequences. But whether Baker can build a consensus among a diverse swath of members, we're going to have to find out. But it sounds like he is. Right now he is. This much is clear. Baker has already accomplished what he set out to do with his December 5 memo. Right? He's ignited a robust dialogue and debate throughout the college sports ecosystem. We have received excellent feedback on these proposals from student athletes and all the stakeholders. This is a speech at the convention today. Some may quibble with the details, but they are glad we are finally talking about the elephant in the room. I found the proposal to be really refreshing. President of Play 5 Sports Properties, Christy Hegpeth, and the former Stanford basketball player told On3 on Wednesday, adding that she embraces the move to fast-track NIL in-house. Now, look, the in-house thing, it's going to get support from at least from the women student athletes, because it is a belief that it would give them more of a equal ground, right, with the men in terms of opportunity, NIL money. And then it goes on to talk about how NCAA continues to pursue the federal NIL reform bill. The council plans to meet June 25th and 26th. Then the next meeting is in April. The board is scheduled to meet April 22nd, where it could review council's recommendations. Then the council plans to meet June 25th and 26th. The board will meet on August 6th, when it could potentially act on the council's recommendations. So this could all, with the NIL in-house, could all be adopted in August. Shifting NIL activities under the school's umbrellas would be a radical departure from the current model consisting of collectives. More than 200 exist nationwide that distribute money to the athletes, increasingly for recruiting and retention purposes, and mostly to athletes. Now, I'm going to finish up this article right here. I will provide a link in the description. North Carolina Athletic Director Bubba Cunningham told On3 shortly before the NCAA unveiled its proposal that universities are not prepared to bring collectives or other elements of NIL in-house. There are too many unanswered questions about employment, compensation, antitrust, Title IX, and Title 12 that must be considered. So, opinions are mixed. A wide swath of industry leaders have told On3 that moving NIL activities in-house would have several benefits. It would address fatigue of donors who have been increasingly pulled between donating to collectives for NIL activities and donating to athletic departments for facility upgrades. It would also streamline the AD, the athletic department's fundraising efforts, enable both parties to row in the same direction, and with muscle and branding of the university behind it, it could add more credibility to the NIL operation. Okay, so that's as far as we're going to go with that article. Again, there is, in my opinion, at least some pickup of support. Obviously, there's mixed opinions. It's not going to go exactly how Charlie Baker wrote it out, but there is some support behind bringing NIL in-house. And it may eliminate third-party collectives, or it may not. But it sounds like it's getting more and more support. And then the direct-to-pay universities to the student athletes, that's picking up support as well. So I just wanted to touch upon that. That story, we can finally kind of step away from it for now. We're going to get back into it in April. At least when it comes to Division I Board of Directors. Obviously, we're going to keep following that story in Congress and, of course, all of these court cases. But at least we've covered the convention, and I think the train is on the track. Could it fall off the track? Yes. But I think the train is on the track. Now, before we get into Kalen DeBoer, Andrew Carter put out some tweets. A couple small for the timeline updates on the FSU ACC case. The ACC on Wednesday officially hired a team of 5 Tallahassee-based lawyers to defend the conference in the lawsuit Florida State brought in Leon County in late December. So the ACC yesterday, they hired a team of 5 Tallahassee-based lawyers to defend the conference in the lawsuit, Leon County. The ACC's legal team in Florida, the team that the ACC just hired for Leon County, the Leon County portion only of what we're seeing, what's going on here. Alan Lawson, Jessica Slayton, Raymond Treadwell, Amber Stoner, Nunlily, Robert Minchin, and all of the Lawson Huck Gonzalez firm in Tallahassee. Lawson, Slayton, and Nunlily graduated from Florida State Law School, and this is why I'm not paying attention to who graduated where, because these lawyers and judges, you want home field, but come on, these are lawyers, right? They take their own mother to court. Anyways, ACC brought the big guns, right? Brought the big guns to Leon County. Lawson recently retired from the Florida Supreme Court. Rick Scott appointed him as a judge in 2016. And in early 2023, founded the firm, now repping the ACC. He graduated from Clemson for undergrad. Now, this gives me a big impression, and other people, right? The law firm, Lawson, first name on the title of the law firm, recently retired Florida Supreme Court, just created that law firm in 2023. So what they did is they hired Lawson, the ACC, retired from the Florida Supreme Court. For the lawsuit the ACC filed in Mecklenburg County, the conference has hired a team of 3 lawyers from Womble, Bond, Dickinson, Charlotte office, Sarah Motley Stone, Patrick G. Spa, and James P. Cooney III. Their law schools, respectively, UNC, Duke, and Virginia. So they got their team ready, right? They've got their team ready in Leon County. They got their team ready for Mecklenburg County. And if it, and we were told, we reported to you a couple weeks ago, whatever that negotiation team, whatever that mediation team for the ACC, if it happens, if it ever gets down to that point, it's going to be people that we're not going to know. They're not going to name. It's not going to come out in public. It's going to be a tight circle. And it's not going to be these gentlemen and gentlewomen who are working for the ACC's case in Leon County and Mecklenburg County. And finally, Cooney has done some pretty high-profile criminal defense work. This is the Mecklenburg County team. Worked to free Al in jail, who was wrongfully convicted and sentenced to North Carolina's death row. Also represented Sligman, who was among the Duke lacrosse players falsely accused of rape. So, again, just a little data point, just a little bit of part of the story. Nothing big, but it does fall in line with what the Florida State Money Perch told us on January 7th. We were able to report you January 9th that the ACC's digging in. There is no, these stories on the message boards about this, it's imminent that there could be a settlement. That's not happening. We told you that January 9th. And there's just more indications of that here with the AC. Now, it doesn't mean, maybe everything goes pear-shaped in Mecklenburg County and in Leon County especially. And then maybe the ACC feels like it's the best case for them to settle. But it ain't happening anytime soon. That's what we've been told. We told you that. I think there's more indication of that. Okay. Now, for Kalen DeBoer. As we have, we started the show talking about Kalen DeBoer. We're going to get into it now. We were told a little bit about the noon hour, I believe. We were told that Lane Kiffin isn't going to be the new Alabama head coach. Now, look, the person telling us this could be wrong, right? Could be Lane Kiffin. In fact, Lane Kiffin could be announced during this show. So keep your head on a swivel. Let us know. And then we'll take the biggest L that we've ever taken. The truly big, real-time L. But we were told it's not happening. Then we were told And that was my pick last night. So I'm already going to take the L. Last night, so further in this conversation, it was, and then DeBoer should be considered the favorite over Sarkisian. And then I said, well, why is it those two? And it seems like it's Kalen DeBoer. Person went into it a little bit. I'm not going to get into too much of the conversation. But that's what people are thinking. Then I read this article. It was forwarded to me by Joe Klatt, right? Fox Sports. Let me pop this up a little bit so it's easier for everybody to read. Hold on. Okay. Joe Klatt, why all signs point to Kalen DeBoer replacing Nick Saban at Alabama? And I got to tell you, let me pop this up again. This is pretty... There. Okay. Joe Klatt is not the only person who believes this. Now, he may be wrong. The person who talked to me may be wrong. They may all be wrong. Okay? And then we'll take the big fat L here. The second L, because I thought it was going to be Lane Kiffin. But I just want to, this is peek around the corner. And what Joe Klatt here says, pretty much, I think this is the chalk right now, as we speak, among, I'll just say, media members. Alabama is moving pretty swiftly in its search to replace Nick Saban, and there's a clear front runner for the job. At this point, I would be pretty surprised if Washington's Kalen DeBoer isn't the next head coach at Alabama. And that is what was told to me. Like, it's DeBoer. It came down to Sarkisian and DeBoer, which I would have never... We talked about both of them last night in our live show, but let's continue on. I think you're going to see where this is coming from, okay? DeBoer, who just led Washington to the national championship game before losing to Michigan on Monday night, has quietly been looking at the job, I believe. Now, I don't believe DeBoer's interest in Alabama or elsewhere is no slight at Washington, but the athletic director who hired him, Jen Cohen, is now USC's athletic director. None of that was told to me. None of that is the angle. Just to make it clear, what was told to me around the noon hour is not this angle of the story. It's not that. Maybe, that's Joe Klatt. Look, everyone, here it is. Kalen DeBoer also recently hired Jimmy Sexton. This is what I was told. And some more stuff, but I can't get into it. If you follow college football enough, you know Sexton's an agent extraordinaire, but he specializes in the SEC and is Saban's agent. Kalen DeBoer can be in the middle of all of the SEC coaching circles with Sexton as his agent. Now, this goes, what I'm gonna press the envelope here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. What I was told, and you won't read it in this article, but what I was told is the recent hire of Jimmy Sexton could go either one of two ways for Kalen DeBoer. One is, he's looking at the Alabama job. He's looking at it. Or number two, he is he is wanting an agent who specializes in the SEC for possible future fulfillment of his coaching staffs in the future at Washington or wherever. But it's probably because he's looking at the Alabama job. Jimmy Sexton is Saban's agent. Here's what I do know. This is from Joe Klatt. Sexton is going to control Alabama's search. Every bit of it. He controls every chess piece on the board. This is the PATC money shot of this article. He represents Steve Sarkisian, Dan Lanning, Mike Norvell, Dabo Swinney, James Franklin, all of whom were floated as potential candidates at some point, all of whom were floated as potential candidates by ESPN's Pete Thamel. So Sexton will try to slow play this as long as Alabama will allow him, so he can get every one of his clients the raise he feels they deserve. Cloak and dagger, cloak and dagger, cloak and dagger. Okay. Is this why we were told that Lane Kiffin is not in the mix? Probably. Steve Sarkisian, we were told today, PATC. We were told today it was really about Sarkisian and DeBoer, and DeBoer is the favorite. Now let's look at the other names. James Franklin, I think he's gotten about as much. I don't think he's getting any more raises out of Penn State. I think he's where he's at right now. Dabo Swinney, Mike Norvell. I guess it could be one of those two, right? Dabo Swinney, receivers coach for Alabama. Mike Norvell doing an incredible job at Florida State. Everybody's been quiet between Kalen DeBoer, Mike Norvell, and Dabo Swinney. Mike Norvell put out some tweet today. I don't really think it pushes the lever either way. Mike Norvell is in a really good position to get that raise. I'm sure he already has. This is why, and I want to point something out, which was told to us today. Of everything that was said in the small article by Joe Klatt, but other people believe this to be true. I can guarantee you that. It doesn't mean, look, they all could be wrong. But I want to point something out to you. This is what people are focusing on. This little fact right here. Recently hired. I don't have the date, but it's very recent. So I think Kalen DeBoer is looking at it. And Joe Klatt believes he's looking at it. So the question that I have, for the PATC community, is Kalen DeBoer replacing Nick Saban? I'm going to put the poll up right now. We have over 230 people watching this show. Let's get it on. I want as many people as possible to vote on this. I'm going to give everybody plenty of time. Okay? I'm going to give everybody plenty of time. Hold on one second, everybody. Hold on one second. Hold on. Okay, my apologies. My apologies. Holy smokes. Okay. Is Kalen DeBoer replacing Saban at Alabama? Yes or no? The voting begins now. And then we'll get to your comments. Then we'll get to your phone calls. You can talk about anything you want in college football. Kalen DeBoer, the D1 Board of Directors, we talked about that. And the ACC digging in. They hired lawyers from Mecklenburg County. They hired another team for Leon County. Going to give a lot of opportunity to vote. Going to give it a good minute. A lot of people watching the program. We just went through it. People are coming in. New people are coming in. Kalen DeBoer just recently hired Jimmy Sexton. Big time agent, especially in SEC's country. We were told Sarkisian, DeBoer were basically the last two, or the two that you should focus on. But the chalk is Kalen DeBoer. And then it's not going to be Lane Kiffin. We went through an article with Joe Klatt. A lot of things he said. Some things were a little different. Some things he focused on that was different. But basically the main story is it looks like it's going to be Kalen DeBoer and the other agents under Jimmy Sexton. All those same names that were listed in the Pete Thamel's post of possible candidates, all them given just enough time for all of those other candidates, supposed candidates, to get themselves a raise. Joe Klatt could be wrong. What I was told at about noon today could be wrong. I don't know. I'm going to give everybody 10 more seconds to vote. Is Kalen DeBoer replacing Saban at Alabama? Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. 69% says no. 69% of the PATC community says no, it's not happening. It is not Kalen DeBoer. Rock and rant. There is no way Alabama is bringing in Lane Kiffin. Thank you so much for your super chat. I appreciate your continued generosity to our channel. Well, it doesn't look like it is Lane Kiffin, to be honest with you. We were told it's not Lane Kiffin. That was the first thing that was told to us. Even though this episode 358 this morning, I was like, it's not Dan Lanning. That means it could be Lane Kiffin. No. About an hour after that, hour and a half after that, we were told, no, it's not. I believe the person watched the episode, made sure to contact me, said it ain't Kiffin. Ted Evans, I hope you are correct, PATC community. Okay, we're going to open up the phone lines here. We're going to open up the phone lines. What do you think? Are we going to get an announcement tonight? Is PATC is PATC going to have to take a real-time big fat L if it's announced tonight and it's not Kalen DeBoer? That'd be a lot of fun, and it'd be great for Washington Huskies fans. Give us a call here, 763-260-1333.
Call from
JD.
JD, Mr. Seminole is on the line. The floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Are you doing okay?
I'm doing great. We came on live. We got some information about Kalen DeBoer. We'll see what's going on. Here.
Well, I jumped the line for that purpose. What's being said is that throughout, FSU media is that DeBoer's number one and Norvell's number two, and it's being said inside that their contacts inside Alabama. Mal Moore Center is that Norvell was one of their top targets, but some of the fans are kind of mixed on him, and that could have an effect. And to be honest with you, at that point I was saying, thank God for Paul Feinbaum, because I never thought I'd ever say that. But it's just like the stuff he spewed out there, I'm hoping it stuck, because the problem is Norvell would be my first choice, and I know I'm biased, but at the same time, you nailed it with Jimmy Sexton. Jimmy Sexton rules college football in the coaching field, and he is. As of earlier today, what they were saying he was doing was he was negotiating between Alabama and multiple candidates. I mean, we're talking we're not talking about just one or two, multiple ones. Now, there's a purpose. He would probably rather get DeBoer to Alabama, make sure Norvell gets a bump in pay, and any of the other ones, Sark or any of the other ones, a bump in pay. We heard Sark's not leaving Texas for Bama, and then also I heard somewhere other than the FSU media that Lane wasn't in the mix, like you heard. He wasn't in the mix. So now it was no guarantee.
About noon today. I wish I would have known that last night, but
yes, sir.
We had breaking news. I went with it. I had no information. We got information today, so. We think it's Kalen DeBoer.
I want it to be because I think there was a good chance that even if Norvell was the guy, he might still stay at FSU. There's a lot when you take over for Nick Saban. Plus, there's the expectations, and then just people think there's drama around FSU. My gosh, think about the drama around Alabama.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Alabama's one of the best jobs in the country, but it's not as exalted as what some people make it out to be. Nick Saban made it that job. He made it. Don't get me wrong. You have Bear Bryant. You have the success. It's one of the most successful programs of all time. But at the same time, when he took over, they were in dire straits. And, I mean, he was, the third choice? Nick Saban was?
Yeah.
He was like number 3 or number 4. And and then now I saw something, and I don't know how legitimate it was before I popped online to watch your show, but they're talking about now they might interview Tommy Rees.
Who's going to interview Tommy Rees?
Talking about Bama might be interviewing Tommy Rees.
No, I don't know who said. No.
The only way that is the case is if they're getting turned down by people left and right. And I just, I hope it's DeBoer. I mean, I hope it is. I mean, if it was Sark, I'm not sure Norvell would go to Bama just because of the circumstance. He'd probably go to Texas because he's from Texas, and that was the concern, is not necessarily him take the Bama job, but what was the job that whoever took it, where did they come from? And I don't know. You get the hint that Norvell intends to be there for decades, but at the same time, he's been different the last month.
Yeah.
I mean that snub and the events and the way everything has transpired, it's affected everybody.
Yeah.
And so you just don't ever know. Sometimes people might just need a change of scenery. Plus, we don't know how this whole thing's going to work out with the ACC. Like you were saying earlier, they're loading up, they're getting ready, and so I don't know. But,
all right, sir.
But
we got other calls coming in.
What we're hearing.
Yeah.
And I hope it's DeBoer. Hope we just get that all taken care of. And anyway, I just thought I'd kind of jump the line and tell you what we were hearing.
You got it, buddy. I appreciate it.
All right. Hey, thank you.
You got it.
Bye-bye.
JD, Mr. Seminole. Whoop. I don't know what happened. Give us a call back. Hey, T-Duck, if you can provide me a link with that CBS trending Kalen DeBoer has called. If you can find a link, show that to me or send it to me to my DM on X at Flug Empire. I appreciate it, T-Duck.
Call from
Immaculate.
Immaculate, I apologize. I might have hung up on you.
You might have. It's fine.
Okay.
No big deal.
Sorry about that. All right. So what are you thinking here? Has our cheese slipped off our cracker here at Peek Around the Corner? Is our information just terrible? What's going on, Immaculate?
No, I mean, I had Kalen DeBoer as number 5 on my listing. So just in terms of pure coaching ability, I would say I get why people are saying yes to him.
Yeah.
But when it comes to being in the South and knowing the South, having all the connections in the South so that you can do all the recruiting in the South,
yeah,
I think that's bad. And one thing someone's got to keep in mind is a big reason for his success at Washington was the fact that he brought himself a quarterback with. He doesn't have that now. He's not bringing Penix with him. If I was him, if I was DeBoer, I would not want that job.
Ooh.
I would want to use the angle of taking that job to get myself, my OC, and any other coaches that I wanted those pay raises right now. We know the UWAD has said, I know I'm going to have to open up the bank for this guy. We're willing to do it. We were just waiting for the end of the season to do it. I mean, it's all out there. He's ready to deal. When he talks about joining with Sexton, I think he's doing it just so he can get the most possible. I don't necessarily think it means a move to the South. He's not prepared for that, in my opinion. Like, he's great, but he's not ready for that. I could be wrong in this talk about him and maybe talking to his team and saying that. Great. Or it could be him talking to his team saying, hey, I just got the deal. I'm here to stay. Just
Could
like
be.
it was with Lance.
Could be. Can you hold on 1 second, Immaculate?
Yeah.
Rock and Rant or T-Doc or anybody else who's seeing this CBS Sportsnet information about DeBoer, can you take a picture of it, capture a picture, send it to my DM on X at Flug Empire? Just someone show me something, send it to me. I would appreciate it. I apologize, Immaculate. Go ahead. So, there is reports in the chat room that CBS Sportsnet is saying that, like you just mentioned, he's calling a meeting. We'll see what the meeting's about, but I just want to see something. There's nothing on X. There's nothing anywhere. We were told something at noon, around noon. I don't remember what. And then Joe Klatt put an article that resembled everything, basically, that we were told. So that's why we came on live tonight. If somebody has that Sportsnet thing captured image, please send it to my DM on X. I would appreciate it. At Flug Empire. Immaculate, that's the last time.
There isn't one.
What?
Rock and Rand is saying that there isn't one.
There isn't
that
one.
It was fake. That was a fake report.
No, he's saying there's
put
no
up.
tweet.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. If somebody has it, send it to me. All right.
Yeah.
That's the last time I bother you.
to timeline this all started with Lanning, right? Like all the talk of that, everything about that. Then boom, Lanning comes out, says, I'm here. I bet you he got himself that deal at Oregon. Now, we're not going to hear about that till later because part of that would be don't put it out now. Otherwise, the AD there looks like weak and that he just got leverage. But so you're going to see these deals start to come out here in, I don't know, weeks, months, couple months, I don't know. But Lanning got his deal.
Yep.
Now who do we see being talked about? Sarkisian versus DeBoer. Both of those just had their ADs. I mean, like days ago. Talk about, yep, we're ready to open,
Yep.
we know we have to make a deal with these guys.
Yep.
So they're pitting these two guys against you who already have deals. This is all under one agent. Why would he work to move guys who are already going to get a massive pay increase? Both of these are looking at maybe doubling up their pay. I mean, these are huge. But as a business move, that would be dumb on Sexton's part. And for those guys, why go to Alabama and all the risk there going after the GOAT when you can get that pay right where you're at right now and you've already built something? I don't see the reasoning in it. I think if you're DeBoer, why go down into foreign territory when you've already built yourself something here? You've got, the West Coast, the Samoans, all these guys are coming to your school. You had the number one offensive line rated in the country. Why do you go into a completely foreign situation? It just reeks to me like this one guy, Sexton. When I say reeks, I mean with all due respect because I'm impressed right now with what he's doing.
Yeah.
How he has gathered all the pieces, holding the whole deal. And if you're doing this and he has this relationship with Alabama, I would actually look at who they're saying, oh, those aren't the guys right now. Because that helps, right? Like, oh, we're not going for Kiffin. We're not going for Dabo. We are looking at DeBoer. We are looking at Sarkisian. Because you have to have that angle if you're going to make the Washington and Texas ADs think, oh, crap, we could lose these guys. If there's word out there that Kiffin or Dabo is the guy, then you're going, oh, we're good. We'll just let them announce that, and then we'll make a deal. Because then we can get it for less. Like, he's got to get these deals done while this position is open. And like some folks are saying, that position's not quite as good as people are playing it out to be, but it's Saban's position. It's Alabama. It's Saban's Alabama. They just were in the CFP. It's a great spot to go to, no doubt. But the pressure you're going to face to walk in his footsteps, I mean, who really wants to do that when you could get $10 million at Washington, when you can get $10 million at Texas? I'm not buying it. And I think Sexton and his people are putting this story out there, and there's plenty of people in the media who just love, they need attention. It's part of their business model, who are willing to say this stuff. Now, the one guy that really messed up, in my opinion, was this McElroy. He said 0% chance of it being Kiffin or Dabo. Oh, I bookmarked the hell out of that one.
I didn't even. Who said that? McElroy?
What's his name? McElroy?
The Texas former quarterback?
Yeah. He said that on an interview somewhere. There's 0% chance. I'm like, oh, you're probably gonna regret that one.
Oh.
But yeah, Sexton is on a campaign right now to get all of his guys increases. And when you look at the likes of Kiffin and Dabo just got a pay increase. And with the Clemson ACC situation and Dabo not liking to do NIL, Alabama is kind of a perfect job for him. Because he's not going to have to do much transfer work from there. And he's already knows that entire area for recruiting. As far as Kiffin goes, I don't know if there's anyone who's done more with less. Like, how he has done so well with Ole Miss, it's exemplary.
Okay.
And,
Immaculate, I got to interrupt you.
Yeah, what you got?
Even though I promised I wouldn't. But that's
okay.
That's a golden gopher for you. Don't ever trust a golden gopher.
Especially if you're a Hawkeye.
Yeah, especially if you're a Hawkeye. We come to Iowa City and we win because of a grand conspiracy. Moen.
It's true.
Yes,
it is
Moen. True. Moen's out there listening. Moen is basically saves me almost every show, giving me information. He gives me a photo of the tweet from Greg Greer, which T-Duck said, and I'm just going to post a picture of it for everybody to see here.
Sure.
Greg trending. Kalen DeBoer has called for a mandatory team meeting at 5 PST. So that's 7 o'clock Central Time. That is 8 o'clock Eastern Time. He is likely to inform the team he will be accepting the Alabama job per CBS Sports Net. So let me write this Twitter guy down. I've never heard of Greg. He spells Greg.
Look at that.
Huh?
Look at that and see how many followers it has.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a scam. I don't know who this guy is. He spells Greg with 2 G's at the end, so I don't know how you can trust him.
I agree with you.
Let me do a little search. Go ahead, keep talking. I'm gonna figure this out.
Well, I look at that and I say the word likely. See, that leaves the out.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a troll account. It says it has 134 followers, 96 following.
Okay.
Just joined in 2023.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, See, that's the thing. There's a lot going on right now around this, and a lot of people just playing around. But yeah, that's my
he
call.
put that out 34 minutes ago. When did I start the show?
Yeah. I don't know.
Did I start the show 34 minutes ago, or no? It's been longer than that. Okay,
9 minutes.
Hour ago. Okay.
Yeah. And I could be wrong in it. Like I said, I put DeBoer on my list because he's that good of a coach. But I put him as 5th because he doesn't have any experience down there whatsoever.
Yeah.
And
I understand. Yeah.
There's a lot of people, saying no to Dabo, no to Kiffin. But to me, those are the 2 guys that need this the most, to be willing to walk in Saban's shoes the most. And Kiffin is basically at his peak of what is possible at Ole Miss. And Dabo probably wants to get out of Clemson if he does not want to do transfer portaling. So I still think that even though people might say, no, those aren't the guys, they can't say those are the guys. Otherwise, that would affect the deals being worked right now at Washington and Texas. Because if they're looked as being possible, then that works. So that's just my thought on it. Could be dead wrong. We could hear later today that DeBoer is going to Alabama.
Yeah.
But I just think that if this is all under one agent, and this includes Norvell. I think Norvell is the next one to probably have an announced deal. But all these guys are all that's his charges. It's not just about him finding one guy a job at this one location. It's about using this opportunity, this unicorn opportunity, when the GOAT leaves, it's a team that was in the CFP, to basically threaten all these schools, say, oh yeah, I could get this coach, they like him. Alabama likes him. Well, that word doesn't mean anything in his meetings if word's also out there that they also like Kiffin, that they like whatever. And as far as Rock and Rand saying Saban's not going to allow Kiffin, last I saw, Saban actually likes Kiffin. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I just, with the fact that this is all controlled by one man, we are not yet at the stage of him placing someone in Alabama, because that would not be maximizing the situation. So that's all I got on that.
All right.
In terms of the NCAA stuff, I have no idea, man. I think we're kind of waiting until the end of the convention to see, because there's so much going on, and now with Congress jumping in it too, who knows?
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait. I think we might be in the case of 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 1 step sideways. We'll see how it all ends up.
Absolutely.
All right, sir.
Good talk. Catch you later.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the phone call. Great phone call once again by Mr. Hawkeye. Okay, so let me get through a couple of super chats here. Ryan Willie, do you think Manning made a mistake by not hitting the portal now that Ewers is staying? I don't believe he thinks he made a mistake. Manning, there's no question in my mind that Quinn Ewers let Manning know that he was staying. Nope, and I think the Manning family is really patient about it. I'm going to say no. Thank you, Ryan, for the super chat.
Call from
Steve.
Steve, can you hold 1 second, please?
Sure.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Ryan, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Ryan Thomas, the next Alabama head coach will be Greg Pflugar. I doubt that happens. I think I'm on the outside looking in, but I thank you so much, Ryan, for your generosity. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it so very much. Steven, thank you for your patience, sir. Mr. Bearcat is on the line. What do you think? Kalen DeBoer? Somebody else? What does Steven think?
Well, this would be a pretty short call because Jimmy Ellis wasn't in the Alabama athletic offices today to thank Nick Saban for a great career. He's there for a lot of reasons. And he's got this whole smorgasbord, and he's going to get a feel from Alabama of what they want, maybe even a priority list, and that's that. That's why he was in Alabama at their athletic offices today. Plain and simple. He's a negotiator just like everybody else in business negotiates, whether he represents one person or 10 people, okay? Mm-hmm. And he knows there could be a domino effect of one of his clients taking a job at Alabama.
True. Yeah.
And he may have somebody to fit the job for the place that they left. So there was a reason he was there today, and I'll let it at that, Greg. And if you have an opinion, I'll gladly listen to it. But there was a reason he was there today.
You got it. I appreciate it,
All right.
Steven. Thanks for the info.
Yep.
All righty.
See you.
Yep, Steve. Sorry, Steve. Steve makes a very good point. It's not just about the replacement for Alabama. It's the ripple effect. So Sexton is thinking about that as well. Very great point by Steve. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Call from
Ryan Thomas.
Ryan Thomas, the floor is yours. What are you thinking, sir?
The dark horse candidate has got to be Greg Pflugar, the fat guy from Minnesota.
Nope, I don't think it is. I think I'm on the outside. I don't think they would hire me.
Well, one thing I'll say is I don't think it will be Sarkisian because I see no reason for Sarkisian to take that job. First, he'll be in the SEC as well. Second, Texas has just as many resources as Alabama, if not more. Third, he already has those Texas recruiting grounds established, and he's got the boosters under control there, and he has the credibility, and he has the program established. Going to Bama, having to fill those shoes of Saban and having to deal with others and basically establish himself on his own there will be next to impossible. I don't think Sarkisian would take that job at Alabama because you could make just as much money at Texas and have just as many resources. I just don't see that happening. Lane Kiffin, not happening. Lane Kiffin is a great coach when he doesn't have any pressure to win the big game. No one at Ole Miss expects him to beat Alabama or LSU every year. The problem with Lane Kiffin was he was at USC is he couldn't win the big game. And I just don't think that Bama's going to take someone like that. Lane Kiffin's not. So it comes down to, I think it's either DeBoer, Norvell, or Sweeney. Those are my three. I would not be surprised if it was Norvell. I would not be surprised. I think DeBoer is certainly going to be someone they're going to make a play at, and we'll see what comes of it. He also seems to me like he could be someone that's interested in the NFL, or Washington might just open up the checkbook for him, and he may want to stay where he's at. He's going to the Big Ten, where he'll have some good resources in the coming future, and like Dan Lanning, he probably realizes that it's probably going to be, being the situation he's in is probably better than the high pressure situation of replacing Saban at Alabama, which those are big shoes to fill, Greg.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, the biggest shoes. I do sense a little bit from the chat room from last night and tonight, a little bit from the callers and everything. I do sense a little bit of an opinion that is Alabama's a great job, but it's not really that great. It's because of Saban. I think we may have to push the brakes on that. Alabama is a great job, even in this new environment. Maybe not as great as it once was because of everything that's happening, right? More money coming in. Alabama is going to lose a little bit of their advantage on that. And some of the times lose all their advantage versus some of those SEC teams and Big Ten teams. But Alabama is still a great job, and so many people would love to sit there and recruit, be in that recruiting area, that tradition, the boosters, the investment, the fans.
But
a lot of people would take that job. Go ahead.
I would disagree with you on that with Sark in Texas, because Sark already has that program established, and he's already gotten the flow there. And I will tell you this, Texas has infinitely more money than Alabama ever will have, period. Sarkisian will get paid what he wants.
And Texas A&M.
Yeah, and he's in the SEC. And Texas has pretty good talent as it is, the state there, and he has his recruiting lines established there, and things are going well. So I don't think Sarkisian would be absolutely insane to leave the situation he has for Alabama. It is a no-win scenario for him, Greg. He's got a great job. He's got a great job right now.
Yeah.
So, DeBoer makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
Mike Norvell, it makes all the sense in the world.
Now, Miss Seminole, Jen, Mrs. PATC Seminole in the chat says, and this is, I saw this happen right out on X earlier today. Norvell wouldn't have accepted a commit from a Bama kid if he was leaving. The kid 100% asked him first too. That's a very good point.
Yeah, that is a great point.
I don't think it's Norvell. We think it's not Norvell here at Pico on the corner. We were told it was Sarkisian, Kalen DeBoer, and Kalen DeBoer is the chalk as of earlier today. I think the steam is rising. We shall see.
Yeah, I think at this point it depends on who the boosters want. I certainly look. I think probably it's going to be DeBoer or Sweeney, depending on what direction they want to go. And Sweeney has a high buyout, but that's not a problem for Bama. But I think you might be right on DeBoer. I think you might be right, but I don't see why Sark would take that job. And Norvell, it would make sense. But if he's told recruits one thing and kind of gone that direction, then Jen has a really good point, and I'm not gonna. Jen is a very, 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 very smart and savvy football person, so I'm not going to question her. I'm not going to question her wisdom. I'll take her word at it.
And that just happened. So that's it doesn't necessarily mean Mike Norvell definitely is not, but It's a data point. It's a very good indication that he's not the person.
Yeah, and Jen's super credible, and you know she, you know, she's earned her cred. So I mean, I certainly will take her at her word on that. So, but I mean, we'll see. But I think DeBoer, Sweeney, those are the two that I would come down to on Greg. I mean, I'm sure they'll make a run at Sark, but I don't see Sark taking that job. And you know, Kiffin. I mean, Kiffin. If he gets that job, Lane Kiffin will be fired in 2 years. So I mean, I've just never been impressed with Kiffin, and I just, you know, the USC job was just telling to me. But anyway, that's all I've got, Greg. You have a good night, my friend. And
all right,
you know, don't go down rabbit holes. Only go for
got
holes.
it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Great call. Thank you. This is a very good point. I got to tell you, this is an excellent point. Unconfirmed reports from Gopher Tony suggest Nick Saban wanted to leave now before Minnesota appears on Alabama's schedule in 2031 and 32. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate it. You might be on something, or you're on something, and I think you're on something, Tony. I appreciate the super chat, however. Thank you for your humor and your generosity to the show. Appreciate it very much. And we also have a new member for the Early Peak member. Early Peak Cloak and Dagger. New member. You are Struthers. You are hereby Cloak and Dagger Knighted. Thank you so very much. Early Peak members, you got Early Peak videos that you can watch. Drop in about once or twice a week, so keep an eye on that. For those who are new to the show, you just got to hit the join button. We drop episodes almost every day that everybody can watch. Wide open episodes. Talking about everything in college football. We do have college football's Cloak and Dagger Early Peak, dropping a little bit of Cloak and Dagger information that you get to see first. So if you're interested, hit the join button. College football's Cloak and Dagger Early Peak. All right, this interesting. William Lorig, Kalen DeBoer will be on sports radio in Seattle tomorrow at 8 in the morning. Now that is interesting. Why would he be on a radio program at 8 in the morning if he's in the running to get the Alabama job? Would he really want to open himself up? Thank you for the comment, William. Appreciate it. Interesting. Very interesting. Again, if you've come in later, if you didn't come in at the start of the show, we talked about the NCAA convention. We talked about ACC. Whoops. That's my merchandise store. We're talking about the ACC digging in. They hired a team for the ACC in Leon County to defend the ACC against FSU in Leon County. Tallahassee, 5 Tallahassee-based lawyers. The names, the big one is Alan Lawson, a former Supreme Court Justice of the state of Florida. They also, the ACC that filed in Mecklenburg County, North Carolina, has hired a team for that county. So they're digging in. They are digging in. Like we reported a couple days ago here at Peek Around the Corner on January 9th. We reported that to you all from January 7th communication from our Florida State money perch who's been dead on this whole story. There's not going to be a quick mediation. It's not happening today, next week. Just buckle up, brace for impact. We're gonna watch this. We're gonna follow this story all the way through, but it's not ending anytime soon. And then we have the information that we were given to us around the noon hour. That basically was a Sarkisian, Kalen DeBoer, but it's going to be Kalen DeBoer. That is the chalk. That is the favorite. That was the name circling around media members. I can say that. We were told that at noon, around noon. And then Joe Klatt, I'll pop this up. We're not going to go through the whole article, but Joe Klatt says, why all signs point to Kalen DeBoer replacing Nick Saban. Some of this we were told by our source on this. But the big part of this is DeBoer was recently hired Jimmy Sexton, who specializes in the SEC. Recently hired. And here's what I do know. This is from Joe Klatt. Sexton is going to control the Alabama search, every bit of it. He controls every chess piece on the board. He represents Steve Sarkisian, Dan Lanning, who's not going, Mike Norvell, which I don't think is going, Nab Dabble Sweeney, James Franklin. He's also an agent for Kalen DeBoer. So he finishes off this article. So Sexton will try to slow play this as long as Alabama will allow him, so he can get every one of his clients the raise he feels they deserve. Alabama did. There was reports out there. Greg Byrne, athletic director, Alabama, wants this done in 72 hours. Right now, we are beyond 24 hours. Tomorrow's going to be 48 hours. And according to comments, in the comments section, supposedly, DeBoer is he's going to be on the radio at 8 o'clock. I did see Florida State got levied NCAA penalties, NIL information. See if I can post that up real quick. I did see that. Florida State Seminoles are facing NCAA sanctions for level 2 violations in NIL related infraction cases. Negotiated resolution expected to be released soon. So this has been going on for a while. Negotiations. Assistant coach violations were deemed level 2. Those are considered major violations, but not as severe as level 1, and involved a booster who has been disassociated from the Florida State program. So it did involve a booster who's not, and we're going to be seeing more of that as time goes on. More guardrails are going to be put up there's going to be a 3-game suspension for an assistant coach in a disassociation from a booster collective and a booster. "30 months, this is from Ross Dellinger. 30 months into the era of name, image, and likeness, the NCAA is finally dropping the hammer. The association is expected to levy significant penalties on Florida State, its NIL collective, and a booster." We're going to be seeing more of this, ladies and gentlemen. More of this. It's the most serious and unprecedented sanctions handed down in the first 2.5 years of NIL. The sanctions, wide-ranging and broad, are tied to a spring 2022 recruiting event and are part of a resolution negotiated between the school and the NCAA. The Florida assistant coach, offensive coordinator, Alex Atkins, who has been a big name in some coaching searches, right, for the new head coach, is found to have committed 2 level 2 violations, which include impermissible recruiting activity and facilitating impermissible contact with an NIL-related booster. Atkins is alleged to have driven a prospect and his parents to a meeting with a leading member of the school's NIL collective, Rising Spear. As part of the penalties, Atkins will be suspended the first 3 games of the 2024 regular season and given a 2-year show cause. Atkins is expected to remain on Florida State staff in his current role, offensive coordinator. The NIL collective representative, the school must disassociate with the NIL collective representative for a term of 3 years. The school also must disassociate from the NIL collective for a term of 3 years as well. What was the name of the collective? I didn't get the name of it. Did I get the name of it and I forgot it? Okay. Let me know if what the name of the collective is. Did I say it and don't remember it? Tip of the Spear, Rising Spear. Don't think they named the collective? Absolutely, Stephen. Unless you're talking to Bama's athletic director, nobody knows. And maybe Alabama's athletic director doesn't know at 6:32 Central Time on Thursday. We're just reporting what we were told. People are believing Kalen DeBoer is the chalk. You're absolutely correct, Stephen. We don't know. We don't know for sure here at Peek Around the Corner. No. Keep your head on a swivel. I could be taking the big fat L right here, live show, if it's reported that it's Sarkisian or Norvell or somebody else taking the job. You're absolutely correct, Stephen. Why do Minnesota fans want Wisconsin out of the Big Ten? Oh, that's right. Minnesota hasn't been very good over the last 30 years. Thank you for your super chat, Ryan Willie. I appreciate your continued generosity to our channel. I don't want Wisconsin out of the Big Ten. Why would I want Wisconsin out of the Big Ten? Big time rivalry. It helps the value of the Minnesota Golden Gophers to have Wisconsin and Iowa. I've never heard any Minnesota fan actually want Wisconsin out of the Big Ten. But yes, Gophers and Badgers can't stand each other. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate your generosity. Thank you, Evo, Badger, Ryan, Willie. It's Broken Spear. Apparently it's Broken Spear. The big collective is Battles End. Rock and Rant, if it was the SEC, nothing would happen. Rising Spear. I think I said, maybe that's what I read. I think I read something like that. I mean, the penalty isn't, it's not going to be, but the offensive coordinator, Atkins, he's been, people are very interested in him as a future head coach. I got 7 DMs on that news during the show. 7 DMs. Okay. I'm not buying this one at all. Ladies and gentlemen, there's another name. I'm not buying this. I'm sorry. Let's get to Super Chat first. JD, Rise and Spear is no longer the primary football collective. The Battle's End is the football collective, and they are making announcements daily. Thank you, John D. Appreciate it. Appreciate your generosity, Super Chat. So it was Rise and Spear, but that's not the big collective. And whatever it was, it's not going to be much of a collective after this. Thank you, JD. This is not the first time this is going to happen. Definitely not going to happen. Okay. Look, Jeff Ehrman. Now let me give you a little bit of history of Jeff Ehrman. Ermann. He's the Maryland 247 writer, owner of the site. Way back in the day, way back in the day, he was the very first one that tweeted out, yes, we had Twitter back. Did we have Twitter back then? Yeah, we had Twitter back then. But whatever, doesn't matter. I think he was the first. Yeah, he was the first one to tweet it out about Maryland and the Big Ten. I'm talking like the day before it happened. He said there was steam. He said something like steam, Maryland, Big Ten, whatever. Like he had more information, not just generalities. He put out a report at 5:50 p.m. Central Time. I'm going to show you. Report, Mike Locksley garnering significant support for Alabama football job. Mike Locksley for Alabama? Come on, man. I mean, no disrespect. The Maryland's a better program now the last couple of years, but you cannot bring Mike Locksley. That can't be serious. Great offensive coordinator back down there. Let me read. I can't really show this. Let me Okay, this is being reported actually. Hold on, because I will be able to show this. Okay, this is from Football Scoop. Oh, come on. You know what? I don't even know if I want to show you this article. I'm going to have to. Those emerging as serious contenders along the lines of earning interviews. Washington's coach Kalen DeBoer, Mike Norvell, and Tommy Rees. And then they throw in Michael Locksley. It's not going to be Locksley. It's not going to be Tommy Rees. If it is, there's issues down in Alabama. That's all I'm going to say. Holy smokes. It can't be Loxley. Right? Right? Can't be, it's not going to be Bill O'Brien. I don't know. That's a great question, Zoe. Does Sexton represent Lockley too? It's a great question. Grateful Trojan, I wouldn't doubt it. Bama's not going to get who they think they are. I don't know, Grateful. Alabama's a great job. Yes, Sexton represents him. Oh, God. Come on, guys. I mean, Alabama is a great, great job. You're going to get paid. You're going to get all the resources. I know Nick Saban's leaving. I know he is, and I know they're going to lose a lot of players right now. But if you come in there with some cachet, I know there's going to be a lot of pressure. Look, let's just take it, in my opinion. Let's take a look at Kalen DeBoer in the sense of he goes to Alabama. He gets 3 years. It doesn't work. Does not work. In the 12-team playoffs, Alabama only makes it twice or once. Maybe he wins only one playoff game in 3 years. They fire him. He's got some years left on that contract. He's not going there for a 3-year contract. He's going to get paid a lot more. He's going to get paid good in year four, and year 5. Kalen DeBoer is still going to be sought after. He's just going to be looked upon as a guy who could go in the SEC. He's going to be looked upon as going into the Big Ten. Or Kalen DeBoer in 3 years from now, Washington quite hasn't hit the same heights that they just did. Still good. Still going to get the next contract. But he's going to make more at Alabama. And it isn't like if he checks out, like he doesn't work out at Alabama, they're still not going to be highly sought after in other parts of the country. That's just that's just my feelings on it. Daniel. Tom Allen is emerging as a candidate. Whoever follows in Saban's shoes is doomed for failure. And also, you know, these head coaches, they're competitors. They're competitors, man. They're not looking at it like a loser like I am, where I'm afraid to feel somebody's shoes. They're going to go in there and go, ooh, I can do this. I can do this. 12-team playoffs. I can go to the playoffs every year. I'm going to win a national championship. If I get 5 years in this spot, that's how they're looking at it. The collective was Rising Spear, Jen, Mrs. Seminole, PATC. The collective was Rising Spear, and they're a non-factor at Florida State at this point. And if they were a factor, they'd be a non-factor anyways, because 3 years. NCAA is corrupt, so corrupt, it's unreal. It's not going to be the first time. It is the first time, but it ain't going to be the last time. You're going to see the hammer being dropped. And, you know, this is one of the reasons why, we talked about it early in the show, that the Power 5, a lot of the Power 5 programs, they want to bring NIL in-house, within the four walls of the institution. So driving parents here, none of that is going to be the recruits' parents. You know, it's just going to be, and the rules the regulations set on in-house NIL are going to be a lot better enforceable from the schools, from whatever governing body we're going to have, be it NCAA or whatever it's going to be called. But this is one reason why. It's not going to be just Florida State. Sergeant Pickles, even and all, if he leaves, I will understand. But I hope DeBoer realizes what he's building at Washington is special. Now, Sergeant Pickles, there was somebody in the comments section that did say that Kalen DeBoer is on the radio in Seattle, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. I'm guessing that's 8 o'clock Pacific time. If Sergeant Pickles, if you could confirm that, that's a good indication, right? That's a pretty positive indication that Kalen DeBoer is not really settling in for an interview at Alabama. He's not really a high targeted candidate, or he's already told Alabama, I'm not interested. If he's going on an 8 o'clock 8 o'clock radio station, 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, why would he leave himself up open to any questions dealing with any of this? Because this is all going to get resolved in a day or so anyways. So if you, Sergeant Pickles, can confirm that Kalen DeBoer does have a radio interview tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, all lined up, out in public, I think that's a pretty good indication that the information that we were told around noontime today, it's Kalen DeBoer. It's looking like it's Kalen DeBoer. We could be wrong. We could be wrong. And we'll do the big fat L. Jesse, Sergeant Pickles, I'm nervous. Brother, A&M next on the NIL violation watch. Kalen DeBoer is losing almost all of his offense from this season. The phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. You can call us, talk about anything college football. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. If you like our content. Please smash the like button. Appreciate it so very much. But please subscribe and then get your notifications turned on, because we can come on it live at any time. We can come on live later tonight, early tomorrow morning, if this hire happens tonight, Alabama, or tomorrow, we're going to be going live. Breaking news, we're going to be going live. So subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on. That's true. It won't be the first time a coach has canceled an interview. Jerry Kill has another new job. What is he doing at Vanderbilt? Something in the athletic department? Let me know, Tony, in the chat. Matt B., it was scheduled yesterday and he's doing it in person. If that is true, or if it actually happens, that's a great indication, in my opinion, that Kalen DeBoer is not the chalk. Because why would he leave himself? Why would he do that? He could easily cancel that interview and say, look, I can't, I'm busy. Give himself another 24 hours, see what Alabama does. Okay, let me see if there's any new information out there. We were told around noon today, Sarkisian, Kalen DeBoer, but Kalen DeBoer was the favorite. And then if you read the Joe Klatt article this afternoon, we've been through it twice, he also believes it's Kalen DeBoer. But we don't know for sure, right? Don't know for sure. There is no penalties for Florida State head coach Mike Norvell when it came to that second level violation. No penalty for the head coach. Not involved. Let me take a look here real quick. Let me take a look at something. Some advisor role. Okay. Thanks, Tony. Just let me take a look at something real quick. Ba. I'm just reading something that I just received. Hold on. Okay, and then I'm going to look at something else. I apologize for this. Give me a moment. Please give me a moment. Okay. Let me read to you. I can't get into what was told to me just now, but let me get into this is what 247 staff wrote about his feelings on Kalen DeBoer going to Alabama. The potentiality of Kalen DeBoer going to Alabama. 247 Sports, Scott Eklund. Kalen DeBoer was at the facilities today and it was business as usual, according to several sources I spoke to. That was put in the chat by somebody in the PATC community. Have heard from several players through acquaintances, family members, etc., that a team meeting was led by DeBoer today, and it was about wrapping up the season and also looking ahead to the start of the 2024 season. Winter conditioning thought. I could be completely naive here. Again, this is from Washington 247. But I just don't see a fit for Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. Could he win there? Absolutely. However, Alabama's fan base expects top 5 recruiting classes, if not number 1. I don't see him playing the games necessary to get to a top 5 class. Also, he's never coached in the South, which is a big one. None of the coaches he's coached with, to my knowledge, have ever coached in the South, and they have very few contacts down there. Obviously, all that could change, but it's definitely something to consider, and I absolutely agree with Washington 247. Lastly, the South is a completely different animal than the Midwest and the West Coast. The culture is much different surrounding it all. Alabama, 9-3 record. 9-3 record is reason to give coach the boot. They expect you to be in the playoffs every season at a minimum. It's never good to be the guy who follows the legend. It's much better to be the guy who follows the guy who followed the legend. Kalen DeBoer knows this. Norvell makes much more sense for many reasons. This is Washington 247. He's coached, recruited in the South. He's won at all of his stops. With FSU's situation with the ACC, that's one of the reasons why I don't think it's going to be Mike Norvell. I don't think he would put Florida State through this. That's why I don't think it's him at all. Mike Norvell knows more than anybody else what Florida State has been through. This is not the time. I have written off Norvell from. It's not going to be him. I just have a hard time seeing DeBoer leaving Washington at this juncture. His daughter signed with Washington. His family loves it here. Just bought a new house or is in the process of doing that. Okay, I just wanted to put that up. Boy, I do not think it's Mike Norvell. I would be absolutely shocked. Absolutely shocked. He knows what that program has been through. He knows what the leadership is trying to do. Yeah, I'm not seeing it, guys. I am not going to believe. We at PATC, Mike Norvell is not on the list. Awesome Lawson Clips. Norvell is not an alum. They just got snubbed. It's going to be him. I don't see it, man. I don't see it, Mr. Cardinals. DeBoer has a history of not staying at a school very long. His daughter's playing softball, but she can transfer if she wants. Dude, Florida State fans tortured him for 2 years, though. Not really. Especially last year. They all saw the improvement. I can't see it. Yep, I've covered the Florida State. I'm up to 13 DMs. 13 individual DMs. I have read it. We've talked about it. Florida State is level 2. The offensive coordinator, Atkins, is going to get a 3-game suspension at the start of the year. There are fines and everything else. Mike Norvell is not involved. He's not going to get he's not going to get any punishment. The head coach. Again, the phone lines are open. Let me know why you think it's going to be Mike Norvell. Let me know. Give us a call. No, I don't think there's loyalty in college football, but in this situation, Rock and Rant, Norvell's fighting on an island. I don't see it. I don't see it. He has been in the foxhole. He has seen what the snub has done. He can, is he going to stay at Florida State for a long time? I have no idea. Maybe he's gone after next year. Maybe, but it ain't gonna. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Mike Norvell does not seem. I'm gonna say Alabama board. Kalen DeBoer might leave after 2 years and go to the NFL. Look at his work history. The Tallahassee Democrat says Norvell is a favorite for the job. I would be gobsmacked. Absolutely gobsmacked. Huh. This is Michael Alford, Florida State's athletic director. We are pleased to reach closer to the situation and view this as another step in strengthening our culture of compliance at Florida State University, said Michael Alford, Vice President and Director of Athletics at Florida State. We take all compliance matters very seriously, and our full cooperation with the NCAA on this case is a clear example of that commitment. We remain committed to compliance with all NCAA rules, including disassociation of the booster and the collective. So they're going to take their punishment. They're going to move on. And I got a feeling that's not going to be the only school that's going to get the hammer is going to be dropped. It's not the biggest. The punishment is, I think they'll be fine. I think Florida State will be fine. Rod Nix, I'm rolling with you, Greg. I'm holding serve that he stays in Tallahassee. Come on, Greg, play along. I don't know. I don't think it's him, but it's not because he's sad for Florida State. It's not that he's sad. I think he's in the foxhole. You know how I can't really explain it. It's not about him feeling sad. It's about him wanting redemption for Florida State. To see this through next year, the year after that, get them back, climbing back up again. I see it's more of redemption, not being sad. I'm not buying Norvell. It doesn't sit right with me. Not with my tingling sensations say it's not Norvell. Plus, we were told today that DeBoer is the chalk. Holy smokes! Breaking news! Breaking news! Breaking news! Breaking news! Holy smokes! Well, Okay, here we go.
Well,
Here we go. Latest from Sports Center. Pete Thamel. Holy smokes. The expectation is for Washington's Kalen DeBoer and Florida State's Mike Norvell to emerge as focal points of this search. One of them, we were told, was the favorite today. That's the title of our live show. The other one, I cannot believe. Let's play it. Let's listen to it. PATC community, let's listen to it.
Well, I think, Kevin, the first day of this Alabama search, at least the full day, could be considered a winnowing day. Alabama obviously had some aspirational candidates, and they were going to make their calls to the Kirby Smarts of the world, essentially force them to say no. And then they're going to eventually winnow down to the candidates where there's strong mutual interest. My expectation over the next 48 hours is that Mike Norvell at Florida State and Kalen DeBoer at Washington come into focus. Internally at Alabama, Greg Byrne, the athletic director, has used 72 hours with the players and staff as a time frame for which he'd like to get something done. Obviously, with the portal open, that's an important time frame because players are anxious. Early enrollees just got to campus. They came to play for Nick Saban. So look for those two to become the center of the search here in the near future.
Okay. All right. What's going on? What is going on? Come on. What is going on? Look, I know a lot of people are just came in. Hey, look, we were told. This is how it works. I do more work off camera than I do in front of the camera. We were told that Kalen DeBoer was the favorite. We titled the show. Take a look at the title of the show. Kalen DeBoer, we talked about it at the very start of the show. He's the favorite. I'm sorry, but we were told that. We reported to you. And I was kind of joking about how if it gets reported during the middle of the show that it's somebody else, that we'd be taking the L, because we were kind of told. Okay, Kalen DeBoer is the favorite, or one of the two favorites. The other one is Mike Norvell. Nah. And it's not about Mike Norvell. He's a great coach. Memphis, look what he's done. I'm not taking a shot at Mike Norvell. I'm not taking a shot at Florida State. I'm not taking a shot at anybody. I took a shot at Mike Loxley. He ain't the guy. Tommy Reese is not the guy. Steve Sarkisian, we were told nope. We were told no Lane Kiffin. We started the show with all this. We were told Kalen DeBoer. Mike Norvell is the other one. Come on. One of these two is not like the other. Again, not taking a shot at any coach. Mike Norvell's not leaving Florida State now. Come on. I need a phone call here. 763-260-1333. Any of that was breaking news? Absolutely. If Pete Thamel says it's in focus, those two, that's breaking news. We opened the show. I know I broke the story 2 hours ago, but not the Mike Norvell part of it. The Kalen DeBoer part of it. The other one has to be a fake out. It's got... Somebody give me a call. 763-260-1333. I'm going to play it again. Look, I think I'm sensing people in the chat here. Look, of all the skills Pete Thamel has, this is the top one about coaching searches. We were told today it was Kalen DeBoer. No, we were not told by Pete Thamel. But you get the drift. We knew that this was the name that was. This is why we titled the show. This is why we reported 2 hours ago he was the favorite. We weren't playing. We don't play here at Peek Around the Corner. We take what we do here very seriously. I don't take myself very seriously. But what we do here, we're giving you the peek around the corner. It was Kalen DeBoer. Now, Pete Thamel, who's got, let's listen to it again. It's down to these two. I think it's down to one. The Mike Norvell thing is giving me a little bit of a acid trip here. I don't quite know what's going on there. Is that a Sexton pumping up the value of Mike Norvell? Let's take a listen again, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a listen again. For those who are just arriving to our show, Pete Thamel talks about Kalen DeBoer, Mike Norvell emerging as focal points of the search.
Well, I think, Kevin, the first day of this Alabama search, at least the full day, could be considered a winnowing day. Alabama obviously had some aspirational candidates, and they were going to make their calls to the Kirby Smarts of the world, essentially make people force them to say no, and then they're going to eventually winnow down to the candidates where there's strong mutual interest. My expectation over the next 48 hours is that Mike Norvell at Florida State and Kalen DeBoer at Washington come into focus. Internally at Alabama, Greg Byrne, the athletic director, has used 72 hours with the players and staff as a time frame for which he'd like to get something done. Obviously, with the portal open, that's an important time frame because players are anxious. Early enrollees just got to campus. They came to play for Nick Saban. So look for those two to become the center of the search here in the near future.
Center of the search. Center of the search. And here at Peek Around the Corner, we were told that Kalen DeBoer was being looked at as the favorite. And we reported that a couple hours ago. Pete Thamel has a little bit of a different take on it. It's Kalen DeBoer and Mike Norvell, and I'm not buying the Mike Norvell stuff. I'm not buying it. I am not buying it. No, it's not Mike Norvell.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest.
Acid trip, that's what I feel like. And I've never been on an acid trip, but this is what it's got to. It's not Mike Norvell. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. If it's Nike, okay. Look. Greg, you're too decent to cover college football if you're going to buy in the mercenaries not being mercenary. You know what, Rock and Rant? You're probably correct. But I just think it's odd. I got to go with what you're right, but I'm being told something at noon today, and then we were told something else. We poked and prodded on this, and then we read this Joe Klatt article. So I felt we do this. We very serious in what we do, and so we put out the title, Kalen DeBoer, replacing Nick Saban, Alabama, and we said that he was the favorite to start this show. If you would have said, Rock and Rant, awesome clips, B Bean, JS, JB, Beaver, Kyle Visser, Tu Masta, if you would have said, Greg, okay, Kalen DeBoer is the favorite, who would be the second favorite? Who would be right along with Kalen DeBoer? Give me the list of names. I would have given you a list of names, 10 names, and it would have been Mike Norvell.
Call from
JD.
JD is on the line. The floor is yours. I am not buying this at all. I've got my reasons why. I think it's Kalen DeBoer. Tell me what you think.
Well, I wasn't going to call in twice tonight, but I was listening
That's
while
okay.
I was working on my roof. So it's possible, and I hate to say it, but it's possible. And I think Mike took the snub as hard as anyone, and that look in his eye just seems a little different, I'm like you. I can't fathom it. It is the wrong time. It is, it would sting. But I'm going to tell you this, and I hate to say this, even if he leaves, I'm still going to be a Mike Norvell fan.
Yeah.
And,
I get it. Yeah.
And I understand, you're not slighting him at all. I mean, because I'm telling you, he's easily one of the top 5 coaches in the country, and I think he's top 3. And that's just my personal opinion because.
Okay, I got breaking news. I'm sorry, JD.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
You get the floor as much time as you want. Again, okay, so when I said that the steam was Kalen DeBoer, okay, we got that news at noon, and I reported to you all, start of the show. I'm going to show you another tweet, and again, I did not talk to this person. Adam Rittenberg, the 3 names I heard this morning for Alabama: Washington's Kalen DeBoer, Florida State's Mike Norvell, and Alabama offensive coordinator Tommy Rees. It ain't going to be Tommy Rees, ladies and gentlemen. I can guarantee you that. Seem to be the most prominent possibilities, especially with Dan Lanning out. Source said DeBoer is heavily in the mix. I'm telling you, this is what we were told. This is the guy. I don't know if something's going pear-shaped with it. I pushed the envelope as much as I could at the start of the show. So there's one part of this. Yep, it's happening. The other part, this Mike Norvell thing, I'm gobsmacked. Absolutely gobsmacked. Go ahead, JD. I don't know what else to say.
Part of it is that Jimmy Sexton, he runs these negotiations. These coaches are, they'll give their preferences, but at the same time, they give him a wide runway as far as a wide road as far as for negotiations and everything. I mean, he's the best in the business. I mean, he primarily is the business in college football as far as the power player coaches. So
we got more breaking news.
Okay, go ahead.
The Athletic is also reporting that Tommy Rees, Mike Norvell, and Kalen DeBoer are the 3. An announcement will come as soon as Friday. I'm going to say something to you all. I'm not buying this at all. I'm going to say this. Tommy Rees, he's got to be the backup to the backup plan. He cannot be the front runner. It would be an historic, horrific hire by Alabama. And I think Mike Norvell is in this to get his bump in pay. I really think it's Kalen DeBoer. I will be, if it's Mike Norvell, I will come on here tomorrow and I will take the biggest L in the history of college football's peek around the corner. I think it's Kalen DeBoer. Go ahead, JD, but it's being confirmed all over the place. What we partially heard this at noon, that Kalen DeBoer was the front runner. Man.
Well, there's different angles here. What if all these big name coaches don't want to be the guy to follow Nick Saban?
Well, and there's negotiations are going on right now, right? And I got to think DeBoer is at the head of the line. Again, nothing against Norvell.
And then also maybe that Rees is now in the picture. Maybe that smoke from Alabama to more or less tell Sexton, hey, we need one of your guys to pop here. Otherwise, we'll just hire from within and move on. And the whole thing is that there's also optics, and again, we don't know how this is really. We don't know what's really going on here. Might have been they just threw somebody's name out there, Reese's name out there as a favor, saying, "Oh yeah, he was really considered for the Alabama job," and that way when he goes to his next job, that's a resume in him.
That's a Tommy Rees. That's what Tommy Rees is in there for. I really think.
And so there's so many different ways. I don't know that Norvell wants to leave under these circumstances, but, can I say that it's not possible? I mean, I'm telling you, it's very possible. Do I give it 50-50? No. I think he'll still. I'd still give it 70% chance he'll be at Florida State, but is 30% realistic? Oh yeah, absolutely. And maybe Friday's that 30%. I hope not. When I was a kid, I was actually a Bama fan, but I became an FSU fan later on, and I've been an FSU fan for over 30 years. So, but it's just Bama's still one of the teams that I somewhat cheer for. I would cheer for them even more. They wouldn't take over FSU spot, but they'd still be a team that I cheered for. But yeah, nothing would surprise me at the moment. Nothing. And when Gene Williams on War Chant is calling his contacts at Alabama, they're at Alabama, inside the building, and they're saying that, oh no, Norvell's one of our guys that we're looking at. It was DeBoer and Norvell. Those were the primary two that they had gotten to today. And I don't know what else to tell you. I think that the whole Tommy Rees thing is for one of those others, either he's a fallback. In other words, they're not going to get turned down by DeBoer and Norvell and then bring in another 3 or 4. They might just bring in Tommy Rees. Because here's the thing. From what I understand, Nick Saban's going to still have an office in the football facility, and he's still going to be around. Yeah. Well, is that to help the new coach, or is he going to be kind of like the head coach emeritus, where he's just in the CEO in the background, but he's still more or less saying yes and no and making some of the decisions, maybe not the on-field decisions, but we don't know what that is. There's people that have talked about Bama in the past that when Nick Saban took over, he had to insist on getting the boosters in line. They had too much control over the program. And he had to go out of his way to make sure he had control. And with the new coach coming in, I don't know where I heard it this morning. They said, but you're going to have some of them boosters that are still going to want to try to call plays from their luxury box. As far as they're going to want to influence some control. So maybe Saban's sticking around for the good of the program to make sure that the new coach coming in still has the control of the program. But I don't know. I just don't know. I won't be surprised with whatever happens. And like I said, if that snub was a big deal, and people around the country. I have a friend of mine that lives across the country called me out of the blue just to see how I was doing yesterday, and the perception nationally is just that FSU's been whining, and people they just don't get it how much it affected everything, and it's. I don't think anything's out of the realm of possibility, and I hate to say it.
Yeah. I'm most surprised by Mike Norvell's name. Unless we were told noon here at Peek Around the Corner, we were told noon by our sources that Kalen DeBoer is now the favorite. And again, it goes down to negotiations, and maybe he is the favorite, but maybe it doesn't work out. But that's what we were told. We felt really good about it. That's why we started our live show. That's why we titled it. At the beginning of the show, we said he's the favorite. I'm really surprised. I was we would have expected it if it was down to 2. Boy, I think it's. I'm trying not to. I think it's from what we were told, I think it's Kalen DeBoer's job if he wants it. I really do. And if he doesn't want it, then I suppose Norvell comes into play. But I can't believe
Well, let me also make sure I'm not throwing a false impression out there. Is Norvell still dialed in? Oh yeah. I mean, have you seen what he's done in the portal just this week? I mean, he's brought in 3 Bama guys. He's brought in. He's just brought in some serious dudes in the last few days.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's cleaning up Ohio from Oregon State transfers too, and he's potentially going to bring in. He signed one of Bama's offensive linemen. I mean, they brought one of those guys in as a transfer today. He brought in one of the guys that was probably going to be a starting DB for them next year. He brought in a guy that was going to be in the rotation at receiver for Bama last year. He was the JUCO number 1 JUCO player the previous year. I mean, just the guys he's bringing in. And the thing is these aren't like one-off guys. These are like multi-year guys. And so, I at this rate now they're talking about one of the Bama transfer running backs, and then there's a couple of other guys that are rumored to be coming in later in the year that are big-time guys. And it's not definite, but there's rumors. So, I mean, for us to win the conference next year and be in the playoff is it looks really good. And so, I mean, he's cooking, and there's an aggressiveness that he's embraced. I mean, he's always been an aggressive guy, but there's also there's a different level that's popped up, and as far as on the recruiting trail and the portal and everything else. So maybe we'll be breaking more NCAA violations. I don't know. I hope we do. I hope we just wear the black hat and become the villains, because if people want to make us the villain, then we might as well just be the villain, right. But anyway, I think you're right. DeBoer's the likely, but if Mike was to be announced, I mean, I'm not saying I'd be shocked.
All right,
so,
appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
All right, have a good night.
Whoops, wrong music. I apologize. Thank you, sir.
Oh, thanks. Have a good night.
Josie, no way Norvell goes and sleeps with the enemy. There's so many. Rodnick, stay with me, Greg. We will take the L together, but I think we'll be vindicated. Norvell will stay. I think this has got to be a ploy to get, Sexton, Norvell. What is going on here? Okay. I have not buying any of this except for the DeBoer part.
Call from
Dan.
Dan, the floor is yours. What are you thinking, sir?
Hey, Greg, got a question for you. Just a comment. I'll get off and listen to their wonderful show like usual. I was thinking, do you think Alabama actually reached out to Urban Meyer or Dabney Sweeney? I mean, they got 5 national titles between the two of them. Great coaches. Just curious on what you think about that, and I'll get off the line. And once again, great show. Have a good one, Greg. Take care.
You
Bye-bye.
got it. Appreciate the call. I'm going to say no on the Urban Meyer, possibly on the Dabo Sweeney. I'm sure they made a lot of calls. Just to say, are you interested? What's your level of interest? I didn't think Dabo, the people we talked to didn't think Dabo was in this at all from the beginning. And I don't think Urban Meyer is, I've said this, I think he's done coaching. He may try it again, but I don't see it. I don't see it in Urban Meyer. I don't think he can stay healthy enough. So I don't think Alabama called him at all. Maybe to get his input on a Greg Byrne on a potential target or something. I don't think so. Dabo Sweeney, maybe. Urban Meyer, not as a candidate. Wow. Again, we haven't heard anything really from Kalen DeBoer and Mike Norvell. Am I correct on that? I think I am. What Mrs. Seminole said in the chat, Jen, earlier in the show, they just got themselves an Alabama guy in the portal. And, right? They got an Alabama guy in the portal. God, that's weird, man. That's weird. I'm not buying this. I'm not buying the Mike Norvell talk. I think it's a way to get him a whole lot of more money. Yep, Caden's dad, we talked about it. Yep, I understand it, but I think they're all getting their information from the same source. I mean, we got our information about DeBoer. It all. I got to be careful, but I think I'm trying to. Again, I've been told in the chat that maybe I'm too naive or too, Charlie Strong. I mean, okay. Again, people are going to shake their heads. I get it. Let's just take Mike Norvell for a second. He's a coach of Florida State. They go 13-0. From their perspective, they got absolutely snubbed. Mike Norvell sitting in the chair, the announcement, he puts his head down. Alabama gets the spot. Norvell knows what happened. Everyone leaves, going to the draft. Florida State's trying to get out of the ACC. And he just got an Alabama transfer. So, I mean, okay, forget about that part. And now he's going to leave Florida State to go to Alabama. This one is not like the other. This is a way to drive up Mike Norvell's Sexton. Sexton's putting that information out there. The Kalen DeBoer one is real. The Tommy Rees is flowers to Tommy Rees, because when he leaves, now everybody thinks he was one of the finalists 3 for Alabama. There is no way Tommy Rees is getting that job. Come on. Let's be rational here. There's no way Tommy Rees is getting that job. If Tommy Rees is getting that job, we've talked about Tommy Rees on this show. We talked about he did not do a good job at Notre Dame. You cannot convince me he did. You can't convince anybody at Notre Dame. When he talks, does he sound smart? Yes. Does he know the game? Yes. His offenses at Notre Dame were clunky. And then Alabama, you think that offense? I mean, he can't completely take the blame. But it ain't Tommy Rees. There's no way Alabama's hiring Tommy Rees as the head coach. So and Pete Thamel, look, one of these names is most definitely gonna get the job if the negotiations go right. And there's no way Mike Norvell, I think this is a Kalen DeBoer event. I think it's a Kalen DeBoer event. And I think Norvell, this is giving him his bump in pay, giving him leverage at Florida State and Tallahassee. And this is flowers to Tommy Rees, because Kalen DeBoer is not going to have Tommy Rees as his offensive coordinator. Kalen DeBoer is going to have Alex Scrubb as his offensive coordinator, which, by the way, Nick Saban went after Alex Scrubb. He offered the job. He offered the big bucks. And Grubb said, no, I'm sticking with Kalen DeBoer. One more. This is Kalen DeBoer. That's what we're going with. That's where we started at the beginning of the show, because of the information we just received. Casey Thompson going to Oklahoma. His father played at Oklahoma, so he's finally. Casey Thompson he's got some skills, but that shoulder injury, he's all beaten up. Can he? I don't think he can be QB1 at Oklahoma. Right? He's not going to be QB1. And if he was, he won't last the season. Got some talent, got some skills. Again, phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. I'm not buying the Norvell. I'm not buying anything except for Kalen DeBoer. Okay. Hold on. So, Jen, Mrs. Seminoles, PATC, Mrs. Seminoles, just sent me the Bet Online numbers. Now, when is the latest this was updated, Jen? This just has Kalen DeBoer. Holy smokes, that's minus 200. Am I reading that correctly? That's minus 200. Dabo Sweeney's plus 100. Sarkisian plus 400. Kiffin plus 500. Norvell plus 1,000. Lanning's out of it. Schumer. Minus 200 is a big, big number, ladies and gentlemen. That's $200. $200 to win $100. What is this the latest update? Because it says 12 p.m. there. Let me know if that's the latest update, Jen. Is that the latest update? Just now. That minus 200. That's big. That means there's a lot of money. That limb you're climbing out on, Greg. I'm all the way out there. And I'm the fat guy from Minnesota. So that limb better have some strength. That limb, even way out there at the very end, it's gonna crack. And I'm going to fall to the ground, and I'm going to get hurt. But I think that limb is strong. We started the show. DeBoer is the favorite. There wasn't all this information out there when we started the show. We were told, our sources told, it's Kalen DeBoer, Sarkisian, not with DeBoer. It ain't happening with Sarkisian. It's Kalen DeBoer. That's why we titled the show. That's why we told you at the start he's the favorite. And now we're getting Mike Norvell. Mike Norvell's he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. And it's not going to be Tommy Rees. Yeah, I'm out on that limb, baby. I'm all the way out there. I am all the way out there. 2000. Norvell has dropped. FanDuel has Norvell plus 200, DeBoer plus 300 at 451. Is that their latest update, Opie? FanDuel, is that their latest update? 451? Because some money's going to be climbing in now. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on. All right, thank you. Yeah, someone's playing games. Somebody's playing games. But when you're minus 200 and you're bet on it, let's go back to that. When you are minus 200 on Bet Online, that means a whole lot of dollars have been put on that bet. 1 to 2 favorite, minus 200. If that drops to minus 300, again, we came on here starting at a 5 o'clock or a little bit before or after 5 o'clock, and we started the show that Kalen DeBoer is the favorite. And I don't know. Now, of course, we're not the reasons why DeBoer. And now you have Pete Thamel coming on in public after an hour after we started our show, saying it's Kalen DeBoer or Mike Norvell. Wow. Okay. I'm going to show you something else here. Everybody hang on. Everybody hang on. Everybody hang on. Okay, I got to be careful with that. Okay, let me switch over to this. And Jen had mentioned this earlier in the chat. And Caden's dad gave me this. Head coach Mike Norvell on this incredible, promising offensive lineman, Terrence Ferguson II, transferring from Alabama. I'm so excited about TJ joining the No family. He brings in tremendous size, athleticism, with an incredibly high ceiling for the impact he can make. TJ is a wonderful young man off the field who is extremely intelligent with a great plan to maximize his opportunity here at Florida State. We think this is a special fit into our offensive line room as TJ embraces the work culture we have established. I am not so naive to say that alone means that Mike Norvell's not going to Alabama because he just took a transfer in from Alabama. I'm not that naive. This happened today, by the way. This has happened the day after Nick Saban retired. They had to have a conversation between Ferguson and Norvell on that. But you line that up along with everything else that just happened to Florida State. Mike Norvell is not leaving Florida State to go to Alabama in the year of our Lord 2024. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. It's not happening. I get it, but lining everything else up that's happened. DeBoer's met with the team early in the day talking about winter conditioning and stuff. We do not believe that so-called meeting. That was not a accurate tweet that was sent out about that. Yep, we covered that, Jamie. We covered that. Those are the top three, and I'm only buying one of them. At the start of the show, 2 hours and 46 minutes ago, we led the show that Kalen DeBoer is the favorite. The information we received at around noon today. And now that you're getting reports from Rittenberg and other people out there, I think you're starting to see that they also received the same information. We reported at 5 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock Eastern, before all these reports came out in public. We try to give you the best peek around the corner. Mike Norvell, great coach. I can understand why Alabama would be interested in. This might be a Jimmy Sexton agent trying to pop Mike Norvell's negotiations with Florida State, try to give him some leverage. And then the Tommy Rees thing, that cannot be. That has to be flowers for Tommy Rees. That has to be flowers given to Tommy Rees. Because he's not going to be... He's going to be out of a job. So this is a Tommy Rees. Here's your flowers. You were considered one of the top 3 candidates. You're going to get a job somewhere else. I don't think Dabble's in it. I don't think Dabble is in this. Oh yeah, and those comments just came this afternoon. I don't think he's ahead of Dabo. I think these are flowers to Tommy Rees. Okay, we're gonna close it up. We've been on the air for 2 hours and 50 minutes. If you're new to the show, if you liked our content, if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button. Smash the like button if you liked our content. Thank you for the super chats we received, all your support, your great comments in the chat, and your tremendous phone calls. We appreciate it. This is a weird live show because we came on here saying that Kalen DeBoer was the favorite. If you missed it, go back to the start of the show. It doesn't mean it was a lock, but we just knew he was the favorite, that the media thought he was the favorite. We were given this information. We reported it almost 3 hours ago. Then later on this evening, other people mentioning reports, Kalen DeBoer and Mike Norvell. That really is shocking. So we'll see. If there's a report later on tonight, if there's a confirmation of whoever it's going to be, we'll come on live. And I'll take the L if it's not Kalen DeBoer. We will take the L, no question about it. And if it's Mike Norvell, we're going to have a trained psychiatrist to come into the studio to deal with me. And then we're going to have trained psychiatrists all throughout Tallahassee, because you're talking about Mike Norvell going to Alabama after everything. Come on. Come on. Okay. Until next time, from all of us at PATC, to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.